Let me ask you something. What if a leader's most important job wasn't about setting strategy or having some grand vision? What if it was something, well, something much more fundamental? Today, we're going to break down Daniel Goleman's big idea that the number one task of any leader is mastering where to direct attention, not just for themselves, but for their entire team. So, take a look at this. Be honest. Does this feel a little too real? I mean, we're all living in this world of nonstop notifications and endless information, right? It's a daily fight to stay focused. But this isn't just about being more productive. For a leader, losing this battle for attention has some pretty serious consequences. And this quote from Nobel laureate Herbert Simon just nails it. He saw this coming decades ago. The more information we're buried under, the scarcer our most precious resource becomes: our own attention. It's like we're information rich, but attention poor. So here's the core idea from Goleman. He says great leadership isn't just about having the right ideas. It's about mastering the art of directing focus. You have to start with your own focus, and then you have to guide your teams. But here's the thing you've got to get. Focus isn't just one simple skill. It's not just about tuning out distractions. It's actually a whole lot deeper. Neuroscience shows us it's really a triad of awareness, and the very best leaders, they learn how to master all three parts. And here it is. This is the framework. Goleman says that to lead well, you have to learn to balance your focus across three critical areas: your own inner world, the people around you, and the wider world outside. So, what happens when that balance gets thrown off? Well, this slide pretty much lays out the high stakes. If you don't focus inward on yourself, you're rudderless. You've got no internal compass. If you fail to focus on other people, you just come off as clueless and totally out of touch. And if you ignore what's happening in the wider world, you are going to get completely blindsided. Okay, so let's dig into that first pillar, focusing inward. This is really the foundation of everything. It's the core of emotional intelligence, and it all starts with self-awareness. Now, self-awareness isn't some fuzzy, abstract idea. It's a real skill. It's about learning to listen to those quiet internal signals, your gut feelings, your intuition. Those feelings are actually your brain processing information and trying to guide you. Think about top stock traders. The best ones don't just stare at charts. They've trained themselves to notice their own internal feelings of anxiety to know when it's time to sell. And the other half of this inner focus is self-control. It's basically the scientific name for willpower. It's that part of your brain that lets you stick to a goal even when you're distracted or facing setbacks. It's what allows a leader to stay calm when everything is going crazy. And the power of this skill is just incredible. You've probably heard of this one, right? The famous marshmallow test. A bunch of kids were offered one marshmallow right now, or if they could just wait 15 minutes, they could have two. It's like the ultimate test of willpower. So here's where it gets wild. Researchers followed these kids all the way into their 30s. And the ones who waited for that second marshmallow, they ended up being healthier, way more successful, and even more law-abiding. Get this, their self-control as a kid was a better predictor of their financial success than their IQ or even the social class they grew up in. That's a huge lesson in why this inner focus is the absolute bedrock of leadership. Okay, so once you have that self-control, you can build on it. And that brings us to the second pillar, focusing on other people. This is all about empathy and building relationships. It's the heart of social intelligence. Goleman actually breaks empathy down into three different types. First, you've got cognitive empathy. That's just understanding how someone else sees the world. Then, there's emotional empathy. That's when you actually feel what they're feeling. And finally, empathic concern. That's where you sense what that person needs from you in that moment. A great leader needs all three working together. But here's the trap for leaders. Research shows this really weird thing happens. As people get more power and move up in an organization, their focus tends to shift away from other people. They actually start paying less attention to others. They interrupt more, and those really important personal connections start to fade. And this is what happens. If you don't make a real effort to focus on others, you can become completely disconnected. You start to seem clueless, out of touch, and it really doesn't matter how smart you are if people see you that way. All right, this brings us to the final, absolutely critical piece of the puzzle, focusing on the wider world. A leader can't just be looking inward and at their team. You have to be looking outward to understand strategy, to spot new innovations, and to navigate the big, complex world your organization lives in. This quote about Bill Gates is just a perfect example of this outward focus in action. I mean, why would a tech billionaire read an entire book about fertilizer? Because he's constantly scanning the world for information that seems totally unrelated, but might connect back to his big picture goals. That kind of curiosity is where real innovation comes from. From a strategy point of view, this outward focus means you have to balance two different modes. First, there's exploitation. That's where you focus on what you already do well. It's comfortable, it's safe. But real breakthroughs come from exploration, being open to brand new possibilities. And here's the key thing for leaders, making that shift from the comfort of exploitation to the uncertainty of exploration. Well, that takes real, deliberate mental effort. It's not something that just happens. So, how do we actually do this? How do we put all these pieces together and become that focused leader who can master all three of these areas? In the end, it all comes back to one word: balance. A truly great leader can't just be good at one of these. You can't just be self-aware but clueless about your team. The real work is in constantly practicing all three types of focus: inward, on others, and outward, and keeping them all in a dynamic balance. And here's the best part. This is the most powerful takeaway of all. Your ability to pay attention isn't fixed. It's not something you're just born with. Attention is a mental muscle. And just like any other muscle, the more you practice, the stronger it gets. Every time you notice your mind has wandered and you just gently bring it back, you're doing a rep. You're getting stronger. So Goleman really leaves us with this final, powerful question. In a world that's basically suffering from a poverty of attention, your focus is your most valuable asset. The most important decision you make every single day as a leader and just as a person is where you choose to invest it.